My name's Rose Bennett, just another face in the crowd, or so it seems. At 28, I've carved out a niche for myself as a librarian in a quaint part of town. My days are typically filled with the rustle of pages, the quiet hum of people lost in stories, and the occasional chatter about books and authors. It's a peaceful, unremarkable existence that I cherish deeply. But there's a twist to my story that's known to only a few. I am, in fact, the daughter of Charles Harrington. Yes, the renowned magnate behind the colossal Harrington Enterprises. Despite this, I've always shied away from the glare of the media and the high society that comes with such a name. I chose my grandmother's surname, Bennett, a deliberate move to disconnect myself from the Harrington legacy and carve out my own path. Dad was surprisingly supportive, understanding my need for normalcy in a life that could easily have been anything but. Outside the library, I have a hidden passion that contrasts starkly with my quiet professional life poker. Not just any casual game, but the high-stakes world of national and international tournaments. I'm not one to brag, but let's just say I've managed to collect quite a few trophies and accolades over the years. In the poker circles, I'm known for my skill and strategy, a reputation I've built independently of my father's influence. It was at one of these high-profile tournaments that I crossed paths with Mark Dawson. He stood out not just for his skill at the poker table, but also for his easygoing demeanor and quick wit. Mark had a knack for reading the game and the people around him, a talent that made him a tough opponent and an intriguing character. Our connection was instant and undeniable. We found ourselves talking for hours, not just about poker, but about everything under the sun, our favorite books, the best local eateries, our dreams and aspirations. It wasn't long before these conversations turned into dates. Our outings were simple and unpretentious, no lavish dinners or extravagant gifts. Just two people genuinely enjoying each other's company, often over a meal in some cozy diner. I remember one evening, as we walked to his car after a dinner at our favorite burger joint, Mark said with a chuckle, "You know, Rose, I could take you to some upscale restaurant, but I'd have to pawn my watch for that." I laughed and replied, "And risk you checking the time every 2 minutes? No thanks. I'd rather have these easy moments than a night of pretense." That was the essence of our relationship, straightforward, genuine, with no need for frills or facades. It was a refreshing change from the world I was born into, a world where appearances often mattered more than reality. Little did I know that our simple, happy bubble was about to face its first real test. However, in the back of my mind, there was always a niggling thought: how would our relationship evolve in the context of our true identities? As our relationship grew, so did our trust and comfort with each other. It was a typical evening. We were lounging on my small apartment's couch, enjoying a quiet night in. The TV was playing some old sitcom, but our attention was more on each other than on the screen. Mark turned to me suddenly, a serious look in his eyes. "Rose, there's something I've been meaning to tell you," he said, turning off the TV. I sat up, feeling a knot in my stomach. "What's up? You're looking all serious. Did I forget to pay my half of the pizza again?" He chuckled, but his expression quickly sobered. "No, it's not about the pizza. It's about me, about who I am." I leaned in, curious. "Okay, spill it. You're not a secret agent or something, are you?" "No, nothing like that," he replied, taking a deep breath. "I haven't been completely honest with you about my financial situation. I'm actually... well, I'm quite wealthy." I blinked, taken aback. "Wealthy? Like buying a yacht for fun wealthy?" "Not exactly, but I made a significant amount of money through some savvy tech investments. I didn't tell you because I wanted to be sure you liked me for me, not my bank account." I laughed, the tension easing. "Mark, I've been dating you for months, and the most extravagant thing we've done is order extra cheese on our pizza. I think you're safe." He smiled, relieved. "I guess you're right. It's just been bugging me, keeping this from you." I took his hand, smiling. "Your secret's safe with me, but since we're on the topic of secrets, I have one too." Mark raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Oh? Do tell." I took a deep breath, mirroring his earlier seriousness. "I'm not just a librarian. I'm actually the daughter of Charles Harrington. Yes, that Harrington." Mark's eyes widened. "The billionaire businessman? That's your dad? I nodded. Yep, but I've kept it under wraps. Took my grandma's surname and everything. I wanted a normal life, away from all that chaos. There was a moment of silence before Mark burst into laughter. So, we're both undercover millionaires pretending to live the simple life? I joined in the laughter, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. Seems like it. We're quite the pair, aren't we? He grinned, pulling me into a hug. The best pair. I guess this means we can upgrade from extra cheese to gourmet toppings now. I playfully punched his arm. Don't push your luck. I might be a millionaire's daughter, but I still love my simple pleasures. After months of dating, the inevitable happened. Mark suggested I meet his parents. I wasn't particularly nervous at first. After all, I'd managed to handle my own family dramas pretty well. But then Mark dropped a bit of a bombshell. So, Rose, there's something you should know about my folks, he said one evening as we were planning our visit. I looked up from my phone, curious. Oh? What's up? Do they have a secret dungeon or something? Mark didn't smile at my joke. No, nothing like that. It's just, they're a bit old-fashioned. They have this thing against modern women who they think are just after money. I raised an eyebrow. And you think I'll come off as a gold digger? No, of course not. Mark rushed to clarify. It's just, they can be judgmental. I just want you to be prepared. I nodded, suddenly feeling a bit apprehensive. Well, that's going to be fun. Don't worry, I'll handle it. The day arrived, and we drove to his parents' house. It was a nice place, not too big, not too small. Mark had mentioned he bought it for them. They greeted us at the door, his mom, Linda, and his dad, George. The air was cordial, but there was a stiffness to it. Mom, Dad, this is Rose, Mark introduced me with a smile. Nice to meet you, I said, extending a hand. Linda gave me a once-over and shook my hand lightly. Welcome, Rose. Mark has told us a bit about you. Dinner was an experience. They served some exotic dishes I'd never seen before. Linda casually asked, Rose, do you know how to eat this? It's a bit complicated. I hesitated, feeling my cheeks warm. No, not really, but I'm always up for learning new things. Mark shot me a supportive glance, but said nothing. The conversation at the table was strained. George asked about my job, and I could see the disappointment in their eyes when I mentioned I was a librarian. A librarian, huh? Linda remarked. Must be a quiet job. It is, I replied, trying to keep my tone neutral. But I love it. Books have always been a passion of mine. The evening dragged on with more small talk and awkward silences. When we finally left, I let out a sigh of relief. In the car, Mark apologized. I'm really sorry about that, Rose. They can be tough to deal with. I shrugged, trying to brush it off. It's fine. It's not like I was expecting a warm and fuzzy welcome. Mark looked guilty. I just wish they'd give you a chance. You're amazing, and they're missing out on knowing that. I smiled at him, appreciative of his support. Thanks, Mark, but let's not worry about it too much. You can't choose your family, right? The dinner with Mark's parents was just the start. The next day, we were invited to brunch, a chance, as Mark put it, to smooth things over a bit. I wasn't holding my breath, but I agreed, thinking maybe it was just first meeting jitters on their part. We arrived to find a lavish spread on the table. Linda was bustling around the kitchen, and George was reading the newspaper. The air felt heavy, charged with an unspoken tension. Morning, I greeted them, trying to sound cheerful. Good morning, Rose, Linda replied with a tight smile. Hope you're hungry. The conversation started off with safe topics, the weather, a recent local event. But it wasn't long before Linda's curiosity got the better of her. So, Rose, she began, eyeing me over her coffee cup. Mark tells us you're into poker? I nodded. Yeah, I play in tournaments sometimes. It's more of a hobby, really. Linda's eyes widened, and she almost choked on her coffee. Like gambling? Mark jumped in. It's not gambling, Mom. It's a game of skill. Rose is very good at it. But Linda wasn't convinced. Sounds like gambling to me. I hope you're not planning to squander Mark's earnings on your hobby. I felt my cheeks burn, but I kept my voice even. I play with my own money, Mrs. Dawson. I've never been one to rely on others financially. There was an awkward pause before George chimed in, trying to change the subject. But the damage was done. The rest of the meal passed in uneasy silence. Later, in the living room, I noticed Linda furtively moving some items around. Her jewelry, I realized. She was hiding them, casting furtive glances my way. I couldn't believe it. "Mark, can I talk to you for a second?" I asked, pulling him aside. "What's up?" he asked, looking concerned. "Your mom's hiding her jewelry," I said quietly. "She thinks I'm going to steal it or something." Mark's face fell. "Oh no, I'm so sorry, Rose. I can't believe she'd think that." I shrugged, feeling a mix of anger and sadness. "It's fine, I didn't expect this." The day ended with a heavy heart. On the drive back, Mark was apologetic. "I really thought they'd be more open-minded. I don't know what to say." "It's not your fault," I reassured him, though I couldn't help feeling hurt and judged. "Let's just give it some time. Maybe they'll come around." The tension between me and Mark's parents wasn't getting any better. After the jewelry hiding incident, I thought things couldn't get much worse. I was wrong. A few days later, we were back at his parents' place for a family barbecue. I was on edge, but Mark assured me it would be a casual, relaxed affair. "Just some burgers and beers," he had said. I should have known better. As soon as we arrived, Linda pulled Mark aside, leaving me standing awkwardly by the grill with George, who was more interested in his steaks than making conversation. I tried to break the ice. "Those look like they're going to be delicious, Mr. Dawson." He grunted. "Yep. Only way to do it. You cook much?" "Not as much as I'd like to. My job keeps me pretty busy." He nodded, clearly not interested in continuing the chat. I retreated to the patio, feeling out of place. That's when I overheard Linda's voice, tinged with urgency. She was talking to Mark, but her words carried across to me. "Can't be serious about this girl, Mark. She's not right for you. You need someone who can manage your lifestyle." Mark's response was firm. "Mom, I love Rose. She's smart, kind, and she's not after my money. Can't you just give her a chance?" Their conversation was cut short as other family members arrived, but the words stung. I tried to shake it off and be sociable, but the evening was a blur of strained smiles and polite, meaningless chatter. Later, as we were leaving, George pulled Mark aside, leaving me to say goodbye to Linda. She was polite but distant. "Thank you for coming, Rose. It was nice to have you." I forced a smile. "Thanks for having me, Mrs. Dawson. Have a good evening." In the car, Mark was quiet, his jaw set in frustration. I reached over, squeezing his hand. "Hey, it's okay. We knew it wasn't going to be easy." He sighed, glancing at me. "I just don't get it. They're not usually like this. It's like they've made up their mind about you without even trying to know you." I shrugged. "Some people have their ideas about how things should be. It's hard to change that." Mark looked determined. "Well, I'm not giving up. They'll have to accept you, Rose. You're the one I want to be with." His words were comforting, but a part of me wondered if we were fighting a losing battle. It felt like every attempt to bridge the gap with his parents only widened it further. As we drove home in silence, I couldn't help but feel a growing sense of unease about what lay ahead for us. Despite Mark's reassurances, I felt like an outsider, unwelcome and constantly judged. Things came to a head during a Sunday dinner at his parents' house, a dinner that would become the most heated yet. We were barely through the appetizer when Linda began her usual line of questioning. "So, Rose, Mark tells us you're still working at that library. Don't you aspire for something more substantial?" I clenched my fork, trying to keep my tone even. "I love my job, Mrs. Dawson. It's fulfilling, and I get to be surrounded by what I love. Books." "But surely you must think about the future," she pressed, "about being a suitable partner for Mark." Mark cut in, his voice firm. "Mom, Rose is more than suitable. She's her own person with her own passions. That's one of the reasons I love her." George, who'd been quietly observing until now, joined in. "Mark, we're just concerned. You come from a certain lifestyle, and well, Rose doesn't fit into that." I couldn't hold back any longer. "Mr. Dawson, with all due respect, I don't need to fit into anything. I'm not a puzzle piece, I'm a person." Mark looked at me, then at his parents. Exactly. Rose isn't here to play a role. She's here because I love her. Linda's face was a mix of shock and disapproval. Love is fine and dandy, but it doesn't pay the bills, Mark. It doesn't uphold a certain standard. Mark's tone was getting sharper. A standard that I never asked for. I've told you, I'm not interested in maintaining an image just for the sake of appearances. The conversation escalated, voices raised in frustration. I felt trapped, caught in a crossfire of expectations and prejudices. Finally, Mark stood up, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. Enough. I can't do this anymore. We're leaving. I followed him, my heart pounding, as he said goodbye to his visibly shaken parents. Outside, the air was cool, a stark contrast to the heated atmosphere we'd just left. Mark was silent as he drove, his hands gripping the steering wheel tightly. "Mark, I'm sorry," I said, my voice small. "I didn't mean to cause a scene." He glanced at me, his expression softening. "Rose, it's not your fault. I'm tired of trying to defend our relationship. It shouldn't be this hard." I nodded, feeling a mix of sadness and frustration. "I know, but maybe this is for the best. We can't keep trying to please everyone." Mark sighed, a sound filled with weariness. "You're right. I love you, Rose, and that's what matters, not their approval." Mark and I had decided to keep our distance from his parents for a while, but that plan was short-lived. A call from Linda, laden with urgency, brought us back to their doorstep. The air was thick with anticipation as we sat down in their living room, which felt unusually stiff. "Mark, Rose, we have something to say," Linda began, her voice unusually soft, almost rehearsed. "We've been thinking," George added, "and we realize we may have been a bit harsh towards Rose." I raised an eyebrow, skeptical. "Oh, what's brought on this change of heart?" It was Linda who answered, a hint of eagerness in her voice. "Well, we did a little digging, and we discovered Rose's background. Her father, Charles Harrington. What a revelation!" My stomach churned at her words. "And how exactly does my father's identity change anything?" George chimed in, his tone suddenly warm, almost overzealous. "It shows you're from a respectable family, Rose. We see now that you're not just after Mark's wealth." Mark's face darkened. "So her worth is tied to her family's wealth? Is that it?" Linda rushed to explain, her words tumbling out in a flurry. No, it's not like that. We just see that she's one of us." The hypocrisy of their words was staggering. "You mean to say," I began, my voice steady despite the anger boiling inside, "that my value as a person, as your son's partner, hinges on my family's financial status?" Mark stood up, his voice laced with disappointment. "This isn't right. You judged her without knowing her, and now you're welcoming her with open arms because of her family name. That's hypocritical." Linda looked taken aback, her facade slipping. "But we're just trying to—" Mark cut her off. "It's clear now. Rose's identity, her character, none of that mattered to you until you found out about her father." The room fell into a heavy, uncomfortable silence. Linda and George seemed to shrink back, their earlier warmth replaced by a dawning realization of their shallow judgment. As we got up to leave, Linda's voice was a desperate whisper. "Please, Rose, Mark, can't we start over?" But it was too late. The charade of their sudden kindness only served to highlight the stark contrast with their previous disdain. As we walked out, I felt a strange mix of victory and sadness. Their acceptance, now offered so freely, felt hollow and insincere. In the car, Mark's grip on the steering wheel betrayed his frustration. "I'm so sorry, Rose. I never wanted you to go through this." I smiled weakly, looking out the window. "It's okay, Mark. It's not your fault. We saw their true colors, and that's enough for us to move forward, together." Driving away, the image of Linda and George's forced smiles and feigned warmth lingered in my mind. Their hypocrisy had drawn a clear line, one that Mark and I were unwilling to cross. In the aftermath of our last visit to Mark's parents, the air around us felt different, lighter, yet filled with a sense of resolution. We were sitting on our favorite bench in the park, a place that had become our haven for honest conversations and quiet reflection. Mark broke the silence. "I've been thinking, Rose. About us, my parents, everything." I nodded. "Yeah, me too. It's been a lot to process." He took my hand, his gaze earnest. "I know we can't change how they feel or what they think, but I don't want to lose what we have because of them." I squeezed his hand, feeling a surge of affection. "I don't want that either. We've got something special, Mark. Your parents' opinions don't define us." He smiled, that warm, comforting smile I had fallen in love with. "Exactly. So, I was thinking, why don't we start planning our future? Just the two of us, the way we want it." The idea brought a smile to my face. "I like that. No outside pressures, no trying to fit into anyone's mold, just us, making our own path." Mark's eyes lit up. "Exactly. We could travel, see the world, maybe even enter a few international poker tournaments together?" I laughed, the sound echoing in the open space. "That sounds perfect. But let's not forget the simple things too. Burgers at our favorite joint, lazy Sundays on this very bench." He leaned in, kissing me gently. "Wouldn't have it any other way." As we sat there, making plans and dreaming of our future, I realized how far we'd come. We'd faced judgment, hypocrisy, and pressure, but we'd come out stronger for it. Our love wasn't just about the big, grand gestures. It was in the everyday moments, the small acts of understanding and acceptance. "I have to say, though," Mark said, a mischievous glint in his eye, "our wedding is going to be quite the event. How do you feel about a library-themed wedding?" I burst out laughing. "A wedding surrounded by books? You really do get me, Mark Dawson.